In a lush, green meadow surrounded by towering trees and gently flowing streams, there lived a young calf named Buster and his mother, Bella. They were part of a small herd that roamed free, rising with the sun and settling down under the stars. The bond between Buster and Bella was extraordinary. They were inseparable. Every morning, Buster would frolic around Bella, nudging her playfully with his soft nose while she grazed on the sweet grass. They shared everything: warmth on chilly nights, shelter from the rain, and the joy of exploring their beautiful home together. If you enjoy this video, please like the video and subscribe for more, and tell me where you are watching from today. I always find it awesome to see where all my viewers are watching from. Let's get back to the video. Buster had learned everything he knew about life from watching Bella. She taught him how to find the juiciest patches of grass, how to recognize danger in the distant sounds of rustling branches, and even how to stand tall when faced with challenges. To Buster, Bella was not just his mother, but also his protector and guide in a world filled with wonders and occasional dangers. One fateful afternoon, as the sun shone brightly overhead, disaster struck. While leading her calf to a new grazing ground, Bella accidentally stepped into an unseen pit hidden beneath the tall grass. The ground gave way beneath her, causing her to tumble down awkwardly. The fall left her injured and unable to get back up. Buster watched in horror as his mother struggled to rise, but couldn't manage it. His heart raced as he rushed to her side, nuzzling her gently, urging her to get up. "Please, Mama," he seemed to say with desperate eyes. "We need to move." But Bella could only let out soft sounds of discomfort as she lay helplessly on the ground. As hours passed, Buster refused to leave his mother's side. He paced around her, trying everything he could think of to rouse her from her painful stillness. At times, he would stomp his little hooves or let out gentle moos that echoed through the meadow like a song of hope. His youthful spirit was unyielding. He believed deep down that if he could just wake Bella up, everything would be all right again. Despite his efforts, time passed slowly. The sun began its descent in the sky, painting it with hues of orange and pink. Buster felt a hollow ache in his heart as darkness began to creep in around them. He knew that night would bring its own set of dangers. Predators that roamed under cover of darkness could threaten both him and his mother. Suddenly aware of his surroundings, but still focused on Bella's well-being, Buster noticed the shadows of trees growing longer. He let out another series of cries filled with worry, hoping someone might hear him and come to help them. Little did he know that help was on the way. The rangers patrolled nearby areas regularly for wildlife rescue situations just like this one. Meanwhile, Bella lay quietly in pain, yet alert enough to sense Buster's fear and urgency. She wished so strongly for his comfort, but couldn't muster the strength to reassure him fully. Each time he nudged her softly or called out for her help, she felt a wave of love wash over her, mixed with worry for what might happen next. The bond they shared was palpable. It transcended words and actions alone. It was a connection forged through years spent together in harmony. A bond tested now by circumstance, but not broken. As evening fell and twinkling stars began appearing overhead, Buster remained steadfast by Bella's side. He sensed every rustle in the grass and every chirp from crickets surrounding them as potential threats, but also signs that someone might soon arrive to lend aid. Just when hope seemed dimmest for young Buster and his injured mother, faint lights began flickering in the distance, headlamps bobbing up and down as figures moved purposefully toward them through the darkening meadow. Little did they know that help was about to arrive in ways they never imagined. Buster stood beside his mother, Bella, feeling the weight of panic pressing down on him. He looked up at her, his big brown eyes shimmering with worry. "Wake up, Mama." He seemed to plead silently. He nudged her softly with his nose, hoping that the gentle touch would bring her back from her painful stillness. But Bella remained unresponsive, lying there with her legs splayed awkwardly and a slight tremor of discomfort rippling through her. Refusing to accept the reality of the situation, Buster took a step back and surveyed the area. He thought perhaps she needed encouragement, a little push to remind her that they needed to move. He backed up a few paces, then charged at her playfully, trying to mimic the happy moments they shared when they frolicked in the meadow. "Come on, it's time to play," he called out with each little hop toward her. But instead of leaping up in joy, as he had hoped, Bella just lay there, silent and still. Buster grew more frantic as he tried again. This time, he stomped his hooves against the ground in an attempt to shake her awake. The sound echoed through the meadow like a drumbeat of desperation. He whispered sweet nothings and let out gentle moos that carried in the cool evening air, begging for any sign of life from his beloved mother. "Please, Mama, we need you. I can't do this without you." As minutes turned into hours, concern twisted in Buster's little heart like a tight knot. He circled around Bella, pacing back and forth while casting glances at the tall grass surrounding them, as if it could hold the answers he desperately sought. Sometimes he would stop and look up at the sky, as if searching for some cosmic help. The sun was beginning to dip below the horizon, painting everything with shades of orange and purple, a beautiful sight that felt so wrong given their plight. With every passing moment, shadows stretched longer across the Shire meadow. Buster could feel fear creeping in. What if no one came? What if nightfall brought danger? He let out another urgent cry, hoping someone would hear him, hoping that his calls would reach a ranger or any other friendly face that could come to help them. Noticing birds taking flight from nearby trees startled him. Their wings flapping overhead reminded him of other animals who might pose threats in the darkness ahead. But even amid this chaos of emotions swirling within him, fear for his safety and deep concern for Bella, he refused to give up. In a sudden burst of determination, Buster came closer again and nudged Bella's neck with all his strength. "You're my everything." He opened his mouth wide and mooed louder than ever before, sending vibrations through the air that echoed through the quiet meadow landscape. "You have to get up. I can't do this without you." His cries were filled with urgency, yet they were also soaked with love, the purest form of emotion between a calf and his mother. To Buster's dismay, Bella remained motionless, yet something stirred within him. He knew he couldn't stand idly by while his mother was hurting. With renewed vigor, he dashed away from her side once more, heading toward a nearby patch of grass where juicy clovers grew thick. Perhaps if he found something delicious and brought it to her, it would spark her hunger and wake her spirit. He nibbled on clovers while casting occasional glances back at Bella. After munching for a moment, Buster picked one up delicately between his teeth and trotted back over to where she lay. Carefully placing it near her mouth, he nudged it gently against her lips as if sharing a favorite treat in an effort to coax her awake. But there was still no response. Feeling disheartened, yet resolute in his love for Bella, Buster resumed his attempts at rousing his mother again by nuzzling closer and whispering sweet calf promises into her ear. "We'll find those juicy patches together again soon," he murmured softly. "I just know you'll be all right." Even as night cloaked the meadow in darkness around them, and fear loomed large in his heart like an unwelcome shadow, Buster remained devoted to his task. his determination shining brighter than any star above them as he held on to hope that together they would rise again. As the sun slowly dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the meadow, Buster's heart felt heavier with each passing moment. He stood beside Bella, watching her stillness, and a mix of panic and sadness washed over him. Each attempt to wake her felt like a thread unraveling their bond. A connection forged through years of togetherness, now hanging by a fragile thread. Buster took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing thoughts. "You've always been there for me, Mama," he whispered softly, brushing his nose against her cheek again. "I need you now." The gentle touch was both comforting and painful. He longed for her to respond, but sensed the weight of the situation pressing down on him. With renewed determination, he tried again. This time, he danced around her in circles, swinging his head playfully as if inviting her to join him. "Remember when we played hide-and-seek in the tall grass? I miss those days." He thought back to their joyful moments, the times Bella would chase him playfully or show him how to find the tastiest greens. Those memories filled him with warmth, but also deepened his sense of loss as he realized how quiet everything had become. Buster paused, looking at Bella's unmoving form. "Please come back to me," he pleaded with tears welling in his eyes. His heart sank as he remembered how strong she was, the protector who taught him everything about life in the meadow. The thought that Bella might not wake left him feeling as small as a blade of grass. In a sudden burst of inspiration, Buster glanced around for anything that might help revive her spirit. His gaze landed on some vibrant flowers nearby, a patch of daisies swaying gently in the cool evening breeze. Maybe if he brought them to her, they could lift her spirits. He bounded over eagerly, plucking a few delicate blooms and returning to Bella's side, hoping their bright color would catch her attention. "Look what I found," he said cheerfully as he placed the flowers beside her mouth and nudged them gently. "They're pretty, just like you." But even as he tried to coax Bella awake with sweet words and lovely sights, she remained unresponsive. Frustration welled up inside him like a storm ready to burst. What more could he do? Desperate not to give up, Buster retreated once more, only to return soon after, with a small patch of clovers between his teeth, his favorite snack that they often shared during afternoons spent grazing together. He set them down carefully beside Bella's lips again. "Please eat something, just for me." The ache in his heart grew sharper as silence lingered around them. Feeling helpless but resolute, Buster decided it was better to keep trying than succumb to despair. He thought back on all the lessons Bella had taught him, the importance of perseverance and never losing hope even in dark times. Swallowing hard against the lump in his throat, he leaned down close and whispered sweet promises into Bella's ear. "We'll graze together again soon. I know it." But no matter how much love and encouragement he poured into his words or actions, there was only quiet between them. It was almost unbearable for Buster. Each attempt felt like another wave, crashing upon shore without ever reaching its destination, his mother waking up. As night continued its slow approach, stars started twinkling above like tiny diamonds scattered across black velvet. With every soft rustle from the grass around him, or distant call from an owl perched high in a tree, Buster's mind spiraled deeper into worry about what lurked in the shadows. Would someone come? Would danger find them before help arrived? Yet through it all, the uncertainty and fear, one thing remained clear. Buster's love for Bella was unwavering and fierce. His connection with her ran deeper than mere instinct. It was woven into the very fabric of who he was. Even when faced with overwhelming odds, Buster knew that this love would light their way through darkness. With tears glistening under starlight and determination burning bright within him, Buster nestled close against Bella and held on to hope tighter than ever before. Believing in his heart that morning would come again and they would rise together once more. Farther down the winding paths of the meadow, a team of rangers was busy at work. Equipped with flashlights and first aid kits, they patrolled the area, dedicated to ensuring the safety of all wildlife within their jurisdiction. These rangers were a close-knit group who shared a passion for preserving nature and caring for its inhabitants. Each ranger held a specific role that played to their strengths, from rescuing injured animals to educating the public about conservation. Among them was Ranger Mia, a gentle yet determined woman with years of experience in wildlife rescue. Her dark ponytail swayed as she moved swiftly through the underbrush, eyes alert for any signs of distress. Beside her walked Ranger Jake, an enthusiastic young man eager to learn the ropes. He often looked up to Mia for guidance on how to handle different situations. Together, they arrived at a section of the meadow where whispers of trouble had reached them. A report of a calf seen calling for help near an unusual disturbance. "I heard it was an injured mother," Mia said, glancing ahead where the terrain began to incline slightly. "We need to find them quickly." Jake nodded earnestly, gripping his flashlight as they pushed forward through tall grass and wildflowers that brushed against their legs. The air was thick with anticipation, and the faint sounds of night creatures added to both excitement and concern as they ventured deeper into the meadow. Suddenly, Ranger Mia paused. "Listen!" She pointed towards the distant sound of urgent cries echoing above the rustling leaves, a plaintive mooing that tugged at their hearts. It was unmistakably a calf's voice. It carried notes of desperation that stirred both rangers into action. "Over there!" Jake exclaimed, his heart racing as he picked up the pace. The two rangers followed the sounds through a thicket until they broke into a small clearing. And there lay Bella, vulnerable and still, while Buster hovered anxiously by her side. "Oh no," Mia gasped as she knelt beside Bella, her instincts kicking into high gear. The sight of the injured mother left her with no time for hesitation. She pulled on her gloves and opened her medical kit while carefully assessing Bella's condition. Jake crouched nearby, observing Buster's frantic behavior as he nudged his mother repeatedly with his nose. "Look at him. He's trying so hard." Jake noticed how Buster darted back and forth, full of youthful spirit, but also filled with worry and fear. Mia understood immediately. The bond between Buster and Bella was palpable and powerful in this moment. "We need to help both of them," she insisted gently but decisively to Jake. "Without intervention, this little one is going to be overwhelmed." As they worked together, the calm presence of Mia focused on soothing Bella's injuries, while Jake kept an eye on Buster. They began speaking softly to Buster, as if he could understand every word. "You're doing great," Mia reassured him while examining his mother's leg. "We're here to help." Jake crouched low and offered some calming words too. "Don't worry. We'll make sure your mama is okay." He knew that comforting Buster was just as important as treating Bella. He could feel how desperately Buster needed reassurance amidst all this chaos. With careful movements, Mia assessed Bella's injury. It wasn't life-threatening, but required immediate care to ease her pain and allow her to move again. She carefully cleaned the wounds before wrapping them with bandages, while simultaneously keeping an eye on Buster's anxious movements. Throughout this process, they made sure to keep talking to both mother and calf. Mia's soft voice guiding Bella toward recovery, while Jake continually encouraged Buster that everything would be all right. Hours had passed since Bella had fallen into the pit, but thanks to Mia's expertise and Jake's encouraging spirit, things were beginning to turn around for them all. Slowly but surely, they could see movement from Bella. An ear flicked back in response to their voices, as if she was recognizing familiar sounds surrounding her. "Look!" Jake pointed excitedly in disbelief as he watched Bella blink slowly open her eyes. It was a sign of hope, not just for her, but for young Buster too. With gentle care following each deliberate motion, guided by love and compassion, the Rangers worked tirelessly, eagerly joining together in harmony with nature, to ensure that Buster would not only be reunited with his mother, but also see her restored back into health once more in this beautiful meadow they called home. The journey toward healing had begun. As Ranger Mia knelt beside Bella, her immediate impression was a mix of concern and determination. She quickly scanned the area, noticing Buster darting around with a wide-eyed look of panic. The calf's frantic movements were heartbreaking. He was clearly distressed, nudging at his mother and calling out in soft, desperate moos that tugged at Mia's heartstrings. "He knows something isn't right," she remarked to Jake, who crouched nearby, equally moved by the scene before them. Jake watched Buster closely, noting how the little calf would alternate between nudging Bella with his nose and glancing nervously into the surrounding darkness as if expecting help to arrive any moment. "Look at him. He really loves her," Jake said with empathy. There was a depth to Buster's cries that expressed not just anxiety, but an unwavering belief that his mother would wake up. Mia nodded solemnly as she began her examination of Bella. "This bond is powerful," she explained as she gently checked the mother cow's injuries. "A mother and calf have such strong instincts when it comes to caring for each other." It was evident that no ordinary animal relationships could match the essence of what rang true between Bella and Buster. As Bella lay still, Mia couldn't help but admire the strength of Buster's spirit. Even in the face of fear, he refused to leave his mother's side. It showed just how deeply their connection ran. The Rangers had seen countless wildlife scenarios in their line of work, but Buster's devotion struck a chord with them that felt particularly significant. "Let's keep our voices calm for him," Mia suggested softly while beginning to clean and bandage Bella's wounds. "We need to reassure him while we help his mother." She lifted her head slightly towards Buster, who stopped momentarily to peer back at them with glistening eyes filled with both hope and caution. "Hey there, buddy," Jake said gently as he shifted closer to the little calf. "You're doing great. We're going to take care of your mama." He extended a hand toward Buster slowly, not wanting to startle him further. There was a mutual understanding that sprang from their shared experience. Both human and animal, trying desperately to protect someone they loved. As Mia continued tending to Bella's injuries, Jake kept watching Buster for any signs of distress or comfort. Each time Mia applied pressure or bandaged a wound, he observed how Buster's expression shifted. From anxious uncertainty when they focused on Bella, to a glint of hope whenever they reassured him through their soothing words. "He must feel helpless," Jake noted quietly as he watched Buster pace back and forth near Bella's head. "Like he needs to do something more." Mia paused for a moment and took in the sight. Despite being scared and vulnerable himself, Buster never once gave up trying for his mother. "That's why we need to make sure we do this right," she replied earnestly. Observing how defensive Buster became when strangers approached too closely made Mia realize how protective an injured animal could be, even if it was just a young calf like him. Every tiny move seemed charged with urgency. He refused to leave Bella's side or let anyone come too close without showing clear signs of distress. This was his territory. He wouldn't allow anything threatening nearby while his mother needed him most. Jake quickly understood how vital it was for both rangers not only to treat Bella, but also pay special attention to keeping Buster calm during this critical moment. They couldn't afford for fear or panic to overwhelm either one of them, especially since emotions were running high amidst all this chaos. In that way, each ranger's responsibility expanded beyond simply healing physical wounds. They had been drawn into an intricate emotional web woven by love, that deep instinctual bond between a mother and her child. And they felt compelled now, more than ever, not just to save an injured animal, but also nurture their connection amidst heartbreak and pain. "All right, little guy," Jake whispered softly as he crouched down lower so that he wasn't looming over Buster anymore. He wanted this young calf fully aware of every attempt made by those hoping only for good outcomes ahead on this night full of uncertainty, underneath stars twinkling brightly above. The ranger team, united through their resolve, would strive not only for healing, but also remind two hearts, never far apart, should never lose one another again amid life's trials. As Mia continued to tend to Bella's wounds, she realized that they needed a solid plan to ensure both mother and calf received the best care possible. With the sun now fully set and darkness enveloping the meadow, the urgency of the situation became clear. "We need to gather more supplies," Mia said, glancing up at Jake, who nodded in agreement. "We have basic first aid here, but we might need additional blankets and food for Buster." Jake quickly jotted down a list in his notepad. "I'll head back to the truck and grab everything we need," he said, ready to spring into action. "What do you think we should bring?" Mia thought for a moment, recalling all the tools they had in their vehicle. "Let's take extra gauze and wraps for Bella's injuries, some food pellets for Buster, and a blanket to keep them warm." She paused, considering the calf's emotional state. "Oh, and a few toys or something familiar for Buster might help calm him down if things get too intense." Jake smiled at her thoughtful approach. "That's a great idea. I'll be quick." He turned to make his way back through the thick underbrush when Mia called out to him softly. "Wait. Before you go, let's talk about how we'll approach this. We don't want to startle either of them." Jake turned back, nodding seriously. "Right. What do you think is best?" Mia considered how protective Buster had been of Bella. "We should keep our movements slow and our voices calm when we return. We want him to trust us, especially since he's been so anxious." Jake agreed wholeheartedly. "And once we're back with the supplies, I can try to distract Buster with the food while you focus on Bella," he suggested. "That way we can minimize his fear and discomfort." "Exactly," Mia replied with a warm smile. "By keeping Buster occupied, we can really focus on making sure Bella is stable and comfortable." She took a deep breath, feeling more confident as they developed a strategy together. With that in mind, Jake set off into the darkening woods toward their truck, while Mia stayed behind with Bella and Buster. As she resumed tending to Bella's wounds, her concern remained focused on both animals' well-being. She knew they had to act quickly, but also carefully. Buster remained close by, pacing in circles around his mother, letting out soft moos filled with worry every time Mia moved near Bella. It was clear that he was still on a high alert. He felt the urgency of the situation, but was also keenly aware of every new sound that pierced the night air. "Hey there, buddy," Mia said gently, trying to soothe Buster while she worked. She moved slowly as she cleaned and bandaged Bella's injuries, hoping her calm demeanor would help reassure him that everything would be all right. Just then, Jake returned, carrying an array of supplies packed neatly in his arms. A large blanket draped over one shoulder and bags of food pellets secured under his other arm. "I've got everything," he exclaimed softly as he approached. Mia's eyes lit up at the sight of the supplies. "Great job. Let's quickly set it up over here." They laid out the blanket on the ground next to Bella so she could be comfortable while they worked. As Jake unpacked the food pellets from their bags, he kept his voice low and soothing for Buster. "Hey, little guy, look what I brought for you." He held out a handful of pellets enticingly, while keeping an eye on Buster's body language. Buster took a cautious step forward, his nose twitching at the scent of food. It was clear that hunger was starting to overcome some of his initial anxiety about strangers being nearby. Carefully, he approached Jake and sniffed at the offering before gently nibbling at the pellets. "That's it? Good boy," Jake encouraged as Buster began eating more confidently, seeming to relax just a little more with each bite. Mia took this opportunity to focus entirely on Bella again. She pulled out fresh gauze and began wrapping her leg with steady hands. With each passing moment, she could see signs of improvement. Bella seemed less tense than before. "Let's keep talking to them," Mia suggested as she worked. "Your voice really seems to help, Buster." Jake nodded while petting Buster gently between bites of food. "You're doing great. Your mama will be all right," he encouraged softly. With their plan in full motion, the Rangers working harmoniously as a team, the tension around them began to ebb ever so slightly under the soft glow of stars above. Hope blossomed quietly in their hearts as they strove not just for recovery, but nurturing love shared between mother and calf amidst this delicate moment in nature's embrace. As the Rangers prepared to carry out the rescue operation, the atmosphere around them was filled with a mix of hope and urgency. Ranger Mia positioned herself closer to Bella, making sure to move slowly, as the last thing they wanted to do was startle either the mother cow or her anxious calf. With Jake beside her, they shared a knowing glance before beginning their carefully planned approach. "Let's keep our voices low," Mia reminded him, squatting down to ensure she wasn't towering over Bella. "We want to create a safe space for both of them." Jake nodded, gripping the food pellets tightly in his hand, ready to distract Buster while Mia tended to Bella. They had established their roles. Mia would focus on assessing Bella's injuries further and administering care, while Jake would try to calm Buster and keep him occupied with the food. Mia took a deep breath and spoke softly as she moved closer. "Hey there, Bella," she said gently, offering a reassuring tone. "We're here to help you." She could see Bella's ears flicker slightly in response, indicating that she was aware of their presence. Jake crouched down a few feet away from Buster, who still seemed wary, but now more curious than defensive. "Look what I have for you," he said cheerfully, holding out the handful of food pellets. He gently tossed a few toward Buster, allowing them to roll just close enough for the calf to notice. Buster hesitated for a moment, sniffing at the ground where the pellets had landed. His instincts kicked in as his stomach grumbled. He took a cautious step forward and began nibbling at them. Sensing the shift in Buster's energy from anxiety to curiosity warmed Jake's heart. He knew that with each bite, Buster would feel more reassured. Meanwhile, Mia focused her attention back on Bella. She knelt beside her and gently examined Bella's leg further, noting how it had been bandaged previously but needed immediate attention. "Okay, girl," she whispered soothingly as she started removing the old bandages carefully. "Let's see how we can help you." With tenderness in her touch, Mia cleaned the wound with antiseptic wipes from her first aid kit. Bella flinched slightly at first, but remained surprisingly calm under Mia's gentle care. It reminded Mia of how critical it was to maintain a serene environment amidst such distress. "Stay close to him," Mia called back to Jake as she worked. "I think Buster is feeling better already." Jake smiled back while keeping his focus on the calf. "You're doing so well. Your mama is going to be all right." He continued tossing small bits of food toward Buster while keeping his voice soft and encouraging. Once Mia finished cleaning Bella's wound, she applied fresh gauze and secured it with medical tape. "You're such a strong girl," she whispered again as she worked carefully but quickly. Time was essential since it was still dark outside and predators could lurk nearby. Just then, Buster took an exploratory step closer to Bella after finishing off another pellet. His curiosity grew. He seemed torn between wanting to be with his mother and needing assurance from Jake that everything was okay. "Good job, buddy. That's right," Jake encouraged. He watched intently as Buster approached his mother and nuzzled her neck softly, the bond between them evident despite the chaos of their surroundings. Mia glanced up briefly at this heartwarming moment before returning her full focus on Bella's injuries. "Almost done here," she assured both animals while completing the final touches on Bella's leg. With every movement she made, she felt grateful for the connection they had fostered with Buster. It was key in helping everyone stay calm. Once satisfied that Bella was stable for now, Mia gave her a reassuring pat on her side and stood up cautiously. "All right," she said quietly but firmly, turning toward Jake with renewed confidence in her voice. "I think we've done all we can for now." Jake looked relieved as he watched Buster continue nudging Bella affectionately. The tension around them began to ease as they both sensed that progress had been made. A small victory amid uncertainty. "Let's keep an eye on them through the night," Mia suggested thoughtfully. "We should make sure they're both comfortable." Together, they laid out additional blankets around Bella so she could rest without feeling cold or vulnerable in the open meadow. And slowly but surely, hope began blossoming anew within their hearts while they kept watch over this precious pair who had faced adversity together. As the Rangers worked diligently to help Bella, Buster remained close by, his instincts driving him to protect his mother while also grappling with the uncertainty of the situation. His wide, expressive eyes darted between Mia and Bella, capturing every movement as he tried to comprehend what was happening. Each time Mia gently touched Bella, Buster would take a hesitant step forward, his heart racing. He couldn't help but feel both worried and hopeful. Buster's small body quivered slightly as he shifted from one hoof to another, caught in a whirlwind of emotions. The sound of Mia's soothing voice wrapped around him, calming some of his anxiety. "You're doing great, Buster," Jake encouraged softly while tossing more pellets to him, trying to keep him distracted. But Buster was torn. While his instincts urged him to eat, they also demanded that he stay alert to Bella's needs. As Jake crouched nearby with the food, Buster finally took a few tentative steps closer. He sniffed at the pellets scattered on the ground, his hunger beginning to override his fear. With each nibble, he felt a touch of comfort, but couldn't shake off the worry that clung tightly to his heart. Every time he looked at Bella, lying there vulnerable and still, his young mind raced with thoughts of whether she would be okay. Mia turned her head occasionally to check on Buster, noting how he seemed to calm down as he ate. "See? She's going to be all right," she whispered reassuringly. Buster paused mid-chew and flicked his ears toward her, voice, taking in the warmth of her words like a soothing balm. While part of him still felt anxious, there was a budding hope blooming inside. Maybe everything would turn out fine after all. With every minute that passed, Buster began inching even closer to his mother. He moved with cautious paws, allowing curiosity to lead him forward while still keeping a watchful eye on Mia. When she touched Bella with careful hands, Buster felt an urge to nuzzle against her flank, as if offering silent support to both Bella and himself. A soft moo escaped his lips, a mix of reassurance for his mother and a plea for comfort. Jake noticed Buster's growing confidence and took the opportunity to strengthen their bond further. "That's it, little buddy," he said softly as he tossed another handful of pellets in front of him. "You can trust us." Buster took another cautious step forward and resumed eating, but kept glancing at Bella as Mia diligently tended to her wounds. Each time Mia spoke softly to Bella, Buster's head perked up. He could sense that they were working together to help the one who mattered most to him. Her gentle tone wrapped around him like a warm hug, easing some of the tension that had built up in his young heart. "You're such a brave boy," Mia assured them both while carefully wrapping Bella's leg with fresh gauze. Feeling more at ease, Buster was finally drawn in by the familiar scent of his mother mingling with the sweet aroma from the food. He moved closer again and nuzzled Bella's side affectionately. It was an instinctive act of love that brought him comfort in this anxious time. In that moment, he felt a glimmer of hope, if only for a brief second, that everything would turn out all right. Buster watched intently as Mia finished bandaging Bella's injuries and then stood back for a moment to assess her work. The soft hum of night sounds surrounded them, crickets chirping and the distant rustle of leaves, a reminder that life continued outside their little bubble of concern. As Mia stepped back, she smiled softly at Buster and gave him an encouraging nod. "You're doing so well," she said gently. Buster returned her gaze, feeling more reassured than ever, and took a moment to reflect on how far they had come since everything had started. Even though worry lingered in his heart like a shadow, Buster couldn't shake off the warmth of hope brewing inside him as he leaned closer against Bella once more. He sensed that the Rangers were truly there to help them both. Unexpected allies who had stepped into their world during their time of need. Together, the Rangers and these two resilient animals faced the night ahead with a shared sense of purpose and connection forged through adversity. As they settled into this moment of calm amidst uncertainty, Buster felt ready to embrace whatever came next with courage and love at the forefront of his heart. With a sense of urgency and focus, Ranger Mia completed the final touches on Bella's treatment. After thoroughly cleaning and bandaging the injured leg, she took a step back to assess her work. "There we go, Bella," she said softly, her heart swelling with relief as she noted how much better Bella looked now that her wounds were dressed. "You're going to be okay." As if sensing the change in energy around her, Bella blinked slowly and lifted her head slightly. Buster watched intently, his eyes wide with concern mixed with hope. The sight of his mother moving stirred something deep within him. It was as though a flicker of life had sparked between them again. "Look at her," Jake exclaimed quietly, sharing in the excitement. He continued to feed Buster tiny morsels of food while keeping his voice calm and encouraging. "She's getting stronger already." Buster felt a rush of warmth filling him at Jake's words. He took another step toward Bella, instinctively drawn to nuzzle her neck again. The bond between mother and calf was palpable as they reached for one another in this moment of shared recovery. Buster gently pressed his head against Bella's side, granting comfort to both himself and his mother. Mia knelt down beside Bella once more, running her hand gently along her flank. "You did so well through all this," she whispered lovingly. "Now, let's make sure you get some rest." After checking the bandages one last time for security, She stood up carefully and turned to Jake. "Let's give them some space now," Mia suggested thoughtfully. "We should let Bella rest while keeping an eye on Buster." She could see the weariness settling in around them as night deepened. It was important that they didn't overwhelm either animal after their harrowing experience. Jake nodded in agreement, understanding that this was crucial for both mother and calf to regain their strength. He softly led Buster away from Bella just enough so they could still see each other, but not feel crowded or anxious about the situation. "Come here, buddy," he said soothingly, encouraging Buster to settle down next to him on the grass where he could munch on pellets without distraction. As he watched Buster eat with renewed enthusiasm now that he sensed safety surrounding him again, he couldn't help but feel proud of how far they had both come. Mia took a few steps back and positioned herself near Bella's head so that she could stay close, while also allowing the animals time alone together, an essential part of healing they needed after everything they'd faced. The night air settled around them softly like a blanket, filled with sounds from the meadow, a chorus of crickets serenading the stars twinkling overhead in a peaceful display. For once since their ordeal began, there was tranquility nestled within the chaos that had unfolded earlier. "All we can do now is keep watch," Mia said quietly as she leaned against a nearby tree to rest for a moment while maintaining vigilance over both animals' well-being. She knew it would take time for Bella to fully recover from her injury, but felt hopeful seeing how strong their bond remained. Buster appeared more relaxed now. He finished eating and turned his gaze toward Bella again, with those big brown eyes full of love and concern, a reminder of their unbreakable connection even amidst uncertainty. "Mama?" Buster mooed softly, as if seeking reassurance from Bella herself. An instinctual call filled with yearning for comfort after all they had endured together. Bella responded slowly but surely by lifting her head higher once more until their eyes met. This small gesture ignited another spark between them unlike any other. It was solace, wrapped in familiarity amidst worrying moments earlier. Proof that every little step taken mattered greatly along their journey toward healing. Mia smiled at this exchange. It warmed her heart knowing how strong love could be, even when faced against daunting odds. The unwavering spirit shared between these two living beings united despite challenges ahead. "Rest easy tonight, you two," she murmured softly under breath, while continuing to keep watchful eyes set upon them, her heart brimming with hope as they began mending wounds, both seen and unseen beneath stars, watching over them all. As the first light of dawn began to break over the meadow, painting the sky in soft pastels of pink and orange, a sense of transformation hung in the air. Buster, still nestled close to Bella, sensed the change before he even opened his eyes fully. He lifted his head groggily, pausing to take in the sounds of the world awakening around him. The gentle rustle of leaves in the soft breeze, and the cheerful chirping of birds welcoming a new day. Bella stirred beside him, lifting her head slightly and blinking slowly. The sight filled Buster with a rush of joy as he watched his mother begin to emerge from her sleep. "Mama," he mooed softly, nudging her with his nose to encourage her full awakening. There was an undeniable spark of hope in his heart. He felt that today would be different. Mia and Jake, alert and ready, noticed Bella's movements from their positions nearby. "Look, she's waking up," Jake exclaimed, excitement bubbling in his voice as he exchanged a glance with Mia. The rangers had kept close watch throughout the night, ensuring both animals felt safe and comfortable. Buster edged closer to Bella, his small heart racing with anticipation. Each adjustment in her posture fueled his eagerness. He gently nuzzled her neck again, seeking that familiar warmth that comforted him so deeply. The moment their eyes met again felt monumental, like reuniting after a long journey apart. Bella blinked at him with recognition, her muzzle softening as she returned the nuzzle with a gentle nudge of her own. "Hey there, little one," Mia said softly as she stepped closer, careful to maintain a calm presence. She could see how much this reunion meant not only to Buster, but also for Bella. It was clear that they had both been waiting for this moment. Buster took a step back, his eyes shining bright with happiness. He could feel that their bond had grown even stronger during this ordeal, a connection forged through worry and perseverance. With each nuzzle exchanged between them, a palpable sense of relief washed over him like a wave, knowing that they were finally together again. Bella leaned down toward Buster, letting out a soft moo that echoed with warmth and reassurance. It was as if she was saying all the words they couldn't find during the night of uncertainty. She was here for him now. "I knew you'd be okay," Buster exclaimed quietly, his voice bubbling over with emotion as he pressed his body against hers once more. In that moment, everything seemed to melt away. The fears and worries from before were simply replaced by pure joy at being reunited. Mia couldn't help but smile at the beautiful sight of the mother and calf embracing one another. It reminded her so deeply of the resilience found in nature, the way animals instinctively seek comfort from those they love most in times of trouble. She glanced over at Jake, who was equally captivated by this emotional reunion. They took a step back to give Bella and Buster some space, while keeping an attentive eye in case they needed help adjusting back into their routine after such a stressful experience. "I think she's going to be just fine now," Mia said contentedly as she watched them interact with each other. It warmed her heart to witness what love could do when faced against adversity. Buster wandered around Bella briefly, before returning to nuzzle under her flank protectively once more. His instinct to be near his mother, fueling his actions now more than ever before. Underneath the beauty of the morning sun, everything around them felt alive again. A fresh start dawning alongside new memories waiting to unfold. As Bella carefully stood up on her legs for the first time since the accident, Buster remained right at her side, allowing every inch of himself to echo encouragement as she tested her balance again cautiously. The reconnecting moments were nothing short of magical, each movement sealing their bond even further, defining their spirit will survive whatever challenges lay ahead, even on darker nights. With laughter echoing across the meadow like notes from an orchestra, the Rangers cheered quietly from afar, celebrating not just their successful rescue operation, but also witnessing this truly heartfelt reunion filled with relief and indescribable joy, shared between a mother cow and her precious calf. As the sun rose higher in the sky, casting a warm glow over the meadow, Ranger Mia and Jake took a moment to reflect on the events that had unfolded. The successful rescue of Bella and Buster was not just a victory for the Rangers. It was a poignant reminder of the vital role humans play in wildlife, conservation, and the delicate balance of nature. Every time we respond to a call like this, it reinforces why we do what we do, Mia said thoughtfully, watching Bella graze peacefully beside her calf. It's about more than just saving an animal. It's about restoring hope and connection. These two are a testament to that. Jake nodded in agreement, his eyes still focused on the mother and calf as they began to relax in their surroundings. It's incredible to see how quickly they bounce back once they feel safe again. It shows just how resilient animals can be, especially when they have someone there for them. Mia glanced at Buster, who was now playfully nudging Bella's side with renewed energy. Exactly. But it's our responsibility as humans to provide that support when needed, she replied. Intervening doesn't mean we control nature. It means we help maintain its balance. Reflecting on their training and experiences, both rangers understood that every situation carried its unique challenges. They were reminded of their duty not only to care for injured creatures, but also to educate others on the importance of respecting wildlife habitats. Their work was often about more than immediate rescue. It involved fostering awareness within communities about preserving natural ecosystems. How many people might have turned away from this situation? Jake pondered aloud. Usually, it's easy to overlook an animal in distress if it doesn't directly affect us. Mia considered his words carefully. That's true, she agreed. But every small act can contribute to something greater. Every call we answer helps instill compassion in others. We may inspire someone to act when they see an animal in trouble or encourage them to learn about protecting their environment. As they stood together amidst the beauty of nature, Mia felt grateful for their roles as rangers, guardians of wildlife who could intervene when necessary, while also nurturing a greater understanding of how interconnected life truly is. Buster's joyful antics brought smiles to both rangers' faces as he danced around Bella, filled with youthful exuberance now that he felt reassured by her presence and health. In moments like these, watching an innocent creature experience relief and happiness, Mia saw firsthand how human intervention could create ripples of positive change. With each playful leap Buster made beside his mother, Mia reflected on all those who had come together for this moment. From the initial distress call that sparked action, to the unwavering support provided by the community surrounding such efforts. It really emphasizes how important teamwork is, Jake remarked as he observed Buster nuzzle against Bella again, affectionately. Between us, other responders, and even those who reported their injuries, we're all part of something bigger here. Mia smiled at her partner's insight before looking back toward Bella and Buster with pride swelling in her heart. This family deserved every chance at happiness after facing adversity together. Absolutely, she replied. It takes everyone working together, sharing knowledge, supporting one another, to make a real difference in protecting our wildlife. As they continued to watch over Bella and Buster basking in sunlight amidst vibrant wildflowers swaying gently around them, a sense of purpose filled the air around them too. A commitment not merely focused on rescuing individuals, but cultivating respect for all life forms sharing this planet. In time, every animal saved through their efforts would carry forth not just stories, but also lessons learned deep within, their significance extending beyond immediate survival into future generations inspired by compassion. With renewed determination fueling their spirits under bright blue skies, dotted with clouds drifting lazily by, the Rangers felt ready again, not just for today, but whatever challenges lay ahead. For nature thrived when nurtured through understanding and love, shared among all beings. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, Bella and Buster continued to bask in the warmth of their renewed connection. The meadow around them thrummed with life, filled with the sounds of chirping birds and the rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze. It was a perfect backdrop for the bond between mother and calf that had been tested but ultimately strengthened through adversity. Buster, now full of energy and joy, danced around Bella, occasionally nudging her flank as if to encourage her to join in his playful antics. The sight of her calf frolicking beside her brought a sense of peace to Bella's heart. She had endured a long night filled with pain and uncertainty. But now she felt a wave of relief wash over her. Their reunion was more than just a return to normalcy. It was a celebration of resilience and love. Mia and Jake watched from a distance, their hearts swelling with pride at the sight before them. They had dedicated their lives to wildlife rescue, and moments like this reminded them why their work was so important. Seeing them together like this makes all the hard work worth it, Jake said, his voice filled with emotion. Mia nodded in agreement. It's incredible how quickly they bounce back when they feel safe and loved. This is what we fight for. These connections between animals that remind us of the beauty of nature. She couldn't help but reflect on the journey they had taken since responding to the distress call. Each step they had taken alongside Bella and Buster had reinforced their commitment to protecting wildlife and preserving the delicate balance of nature. As the rangers continued to observe, they discussed the importance of their roles in these animals' lives. They knew that each rescue not only saved an individual animal, but also contributed to a larger narrative about compassion and respect for all living beings. It's all about education, too, Mia remarked. When people understand the importance of wildlife conservation, they become advocates for these animals, just like we are. Exactly, Jake replied. Every time we share our story or help someone understand what we do, we can inspire others to care about wildlife as much as we do. He gestured toward Bella and Buster, who were now playfully chasing each other across the meadow. Those two are living proof of why our work matters. Buster paused mid-chase, hearing Jake's voice. He turned his head toward the rangers, his eyes shining with trust and gratitude. In that moment, it was clear that he recognized the role humans played in his life, not as intruders, but as guardians who had stepped in during a time of need to ensure his safety and well-being. The sun began to warm the meadow further, illuminating Bella and Buster in a golden light that seemed almost magical. As Buster continued to romp around, Bella grazed contentedly, her eyes never straying too far from her calf. The bond they shared was undeniable, a connection forged through struggle but now blooming beautifully in the light of a new day. Mia smiled as she observed their interaction. It was a reminder of why she had chosen this path. It wasn't just about rescuing animals. It was about nurturing relationships that blossomed within nature itself. Each animal carried stories that needed to be told, a testament to resilience amid challenges. As they prepared to leave Bella and Buster to enjoy their peaceful day together, Mia turned to Jake one last time. Let's make sure we spread awareness about this rescue, she said earnestly. We can encourage others to report injuries or distress calls. It could save lives. Jake agreed wholeheartedly, knowing that their mission extended beyond immediate rescues into fostering a greater understanding of wildlife conservation within their community. As they gathered their equipment and turned to leave the meadow behind, Mia felt a renewed sense of purpose. With every step away from Bella and Buster, they carried with them not just the success of a rescue, but also an enduring commitment to protect wildlife and preserve those precious connections between mother and calf that define life's beauty in nature's embrace. Today had been more than just an operation. It was a reminder that love thrives even in the face of adversity, and every act of kindness could ripple through generations yet to come.